Back to my channel Flutter with Jana. Today we will discuss about block, but it is equally important to understand how our application performs without the use of a block. So let's consider an actual scenario. Consider a user. He is an coffee shop owner and he owns a small shop. So he does the every work, like he prepares coffee, he serves customers, he takes the feedbacks from the users, he collects the payments, and he does all sort of things. On some days, if there is a rush, he won't be able to cope up with the demand as he's a single person doing all the things. So consider this scenario with an application. You have a UI page like a widget. A widget is doing everything. It is rendering the UI, it's handling the logic, it's calling an API, it's handling the error, it's doing validation, user is interacting with the widget. So a single widget is doing everything, and this is not an ideal. So in that case, if something goes wrong, whole app is in a mess. So in order to overcome this problem, we move to block. Block architectural pattern. It's a very structural pattern. Inside it, we have many stakeholders performing individual and different tasks. To name a few, we have BlocProvider, we have BlocBuilder, we have BlocListener, BlocSelector, and a block consumer. Now, if we consider the example of coffee shop, we have a shop owner, a main entity, who hires a many people to work under him, like a barista who prepares a coffee. We have this block builder who is a main waiter who serves us. There is a quality checker who checks the quality of the food, and there is a block selector, a particular waiter who only looks only for the particular types of coffees. So we went to the coffee shop, and this coffee shop owner notices us and he requests the barista to be prepared. That customer has arrived. So block provider, the shop owner, will provide us a block. This coffee block is nothing but a barista. If you know, this block architecture mainly based on two things: event and state. We request anything to event and we receive the updates through state. So we as a user place an order, like order a coffee through event, and that event reaches a barista. Barista says, okay, I received an order, I'll collect ingredients and I'll make a coffee. So immediately barista says, I received an order, and it will emit a state, it will emit an information that order is received, please wait. So this information will not directly come to us. There is a block builder, a waiter. He listens to the update and he comes to us. He informs UI that barista received your order. The UI in sense is we. So we made a request through order coffee. The order reaches the barista, the block. Barista, the block emits a state saying please wait for a few seconds, and that state is listened by the block builder and he immediately update to us, and we update the UI. Okay, thanks. That's the first scenario. After 10 minutes, what happens? Barista says coffee is prepared and it is ready. So he emits another state, coffee ready state. Now the block builder again receives it. He brings a coffee and he delivers to us. So we will update a UI like thanks, we will have it. So that part of block builder is done. So apart from block builder, there is one more entity, BlocListener. He will be only called once. He will only come when the user is served with a coffee. It has a special purpose, like to gather a feedback. So block builder will be called every time whenever there is a change in a state, but listener will be only called once to handle the specific cases. So in this case, the block listener listens to the state and he comes to us and asks for the feedback. How was the coffee, sir? We will inform better, bad, or anything. Okay, so that part is also done. And there is third person as well who will listen to this state, coffee ready state. He is a block selector. He will be only called once and he will come only when user is served with specific coffee type to get their feedback. He is not bothered about any beverages. If we have tea, cold drinks, or anything, he only listens to the coffee. If they want to keep a track of how many coffees do we sold in a day, so that purpose we have a block selector. It will not rebuild every time. The UI will be rebuilt only when there is a change in a coffee. Yeah, he said yes, we had a copy and that's fine. Now if you see, we have covered block builder, block provider, block builder, block listener, and block selector. And there is one more entity that we haven't covered here, is a block consumer, who is a combination of block listener and block builder. That he only listens to the ones and BlocBuilder, it always update the state whenever it receives through the whenever it receives a state from the block. And if we want an example, actual code example, how we handle this communication, so please do comment, so we'll come up with the same video. Welcome back to my channel Flutter with Jana. Today we will discuss about how to write block. In the previous example we did understand block with the help of copy shop example, where I explained everything by considering the copy shop example, and we had multiple stakeholders like block provider, block selector, block builder, and block consumer. So in today's example we will understand those and how to how to implement block. So firstly we'll understand the example. So we have a coffee shop here, and once a user go to the coffee shop, he can select any type of coffee from the list. Once he selects the coffee from the list, he can place an order for a coffee. Once he places an order, the status will change from select your coffee to order is placed, order is preparing, and it's done. And we can see the count here. If user had selected, if you see, we have another option that latte orders. What it will does, it will basically, whenever you order a latte coffee, it will update the counter here. Mentioned in the previous tutorial, whenever user orders a latte coffee, we are showing a dialog asking for the feedback, how was the coffee, and then there is a special waiter who we call a block selector, who will be only listening to the latte coffees, and he will be then incrementing the counter just to check how many latte coffees we sold in the day. So let's go to the example and understand. So first of all, you have to come to the pubsec YAML file and add the dependency of Flutter BLoC. And there are dev dependencies, that is Mockito, build runner, and block test. Whenever you have to write a test cases for the block, you have to use a block test library, and Mockito is used for writing those test cases. Now we come to the main class. BlocProvider. If you remember the example previously, BlocProvider is a coffee shop owner who will provide a coffee services to us, and he will allocate a barista. So this BlocProvider is allocating a coffee block, that is a barista, to us. But who is us? Coffee order screen. And if I go to the coffee order screen, whichever children's of coffee shop coffee order screen all have access to block here. So coffee drop down, order button, order counter, all will have access to block. We will go to the coffee drop down and understand the code. So I come to this class. Here I have a map of string, a coffee type, which displays coffee name and along with some details. If you see this, we have a latte, cappuccino, macchiato. So here are the coffee names along with the description. So if I go here, this is a block builder. And if you remember, block builder is like a waiter who will listen every time. Whenever there is a change in a state, block builder is there to listen the changes. So this is a coffee state that block builder is listening. Now if I come here, if you see, there is a value, and value is state dot selected coffee. But you said I haven't selected any coffee. By default, the first coffee is selected. So I'll go to that state now. I'll go to the state now, coffee state. So coffee state is nothing but output that block is providing to us. So in our case, what we'll require, which coffee is selected, count of latte orders, other coffee orders, order status that we are showing in a selected coffee, and status messages that will show, and latte ready, that is we are showing the dialog box. So again I come to the coffee order here, and if you see here, we have a coffee type entries here, which is the map, and I am creating a list here by using two lists. We are providing a map and asking is to create a list of the coffee items. And if you see on change, whenever I'm clicking on here, what is happening every time when I click here, I am accessing a block here. I am using the context and the build context, and I'm saying I need to read this block, coffee block, and then I'll add an event, means I'll make a request. What request I'm making? Select coffee. So if I come to the select coffee now, select coffee is an event that we discussed. Event is nothing but a request. So I'm making a select coffee request here. It takes a string, which type of coffee we have selected. And apart from that, we have order coffee and order tea. If you see the UI, we have only 3 selections for the user. User can only select coffee, tea, or rather he can select any type of the coffee here from the drop down. That is clear, okay? So let's move back to here. Now I have added a select coffee event, and if the select coffee event, I come to the block. So if you see block extends, coffee block extends a block library, and it takes 2 parameters. two types. Basically, event is the input and Coffe state is the output. So Coffe block, and then we have a super constructor here. For super constructor, we will pass the initial state, and it is must every block must pass a initial state to the super class. So if you see the syntax now, on, it's a event handler. What will happen when a particular event is fired? So on select Coffe event, what we'll do, I'll take an event and I'll emit a state. So I'll take an input and I'll give you the output. So what input we have received? We have received event.Coffe. What Coffe I selected? I selected this Coffe from here, Americano. So this value will be the selected Coffe. And what I'm doing, I'm emitting a state. I'm emitting a state means I'm giving the output. And who is listening to that state? BlocBuilder. Every time there's change in a state, BlocBuilder is listening. And from there, I'm getting a state here and I'm populating the value here. If I choose Americano, it's get reflected. Latte. And any Coffe you select, it gets reflected here. Coffe, and start our app. So I'll select this Coffe. So now the value is populated here. Now I'll need to order a Coffe. So where is order Coffe written? Go to the main dot. If you see order buttons here, this is the elevated button, and what it does, it only make a request to the block. That means we call an event. If you see context I use, and I'm reading block and I'm adding order Coffe event. So if I go to the order Coffe event now, order Coffe event, so on receiving order Coffe, what I'll do, I'll take an event and I'll emit a state. So I'm checking if selected Coffe is latte 1. So I have selected my keto, no, it's not a latte Coffe. So I'll come to the else part, and what I'm doing, I'm emitting a state that it's a other Coffe, and I'm increment a counter to check how many orders we have for the other Coffees apart from latte. So if you see Coffe with method, so I'll tell you what is Coffe with. If you go to the Coffe with, it will create, rather than creating a new object from the scratch, it will create a new object based on the values. If we have selected a latte Coffe, it will only change the Coffe name and other parameters will remain same. So if I go back here, and once that is done, I place an order. The first thing that it will emit, second thing, that I have received an order for the Coffe. So barista received the order, and barista will say wait for few seconds. So that is what we are manually adding a delay for 2 seconds, and then I'm saying wait, preparing your order. After some time, the order is prepared and will emit a state, your order is ready. So if you see, we are checking here whether is latte, no, it's a different Coffe, then that's fine. That means we are passing either true or false here. If it is latte, then we will showing the dialog box, otherwise we will not show. So I'll go here and I have order Mockito. I'll place an order Coffe here. If you see order received for Mockito, wait, preparing your order, and your Mockito is ready. And if you see in the other orders, we have incremented the counter. Now I'll go to the Americano and I'll order a Coffe, order received, pause for 2 seconds, wait, preparing, pause 4 seconds, and Americano is ready. Now I'll go to the order T order placed, and we have 3 orders. And now I'll go here and we'll check the order counters. If you see, before that, let me show you the example when we select latte, what will happen. So I've selected latte Coffe, and now I'll order a Coffe. Once I order a Coffe, if you see, the counter is incremented here, and we receive the messages. Now boom, we have a dialog box. The BlocListener has listened to this and he's asking how is Coffe. I'll just say perfect or good, and if you see, the order value is updated here, the one. But how did it happen? Let's go to the order counter now. If you see, we have a block selector. It's a very special waiter. He will only listen when there is a change in a latte Coffe. Otherwise, he won't be interested in listening to the other changes. So if I see the block order here, we accept a block, a state, and a value that I will be listening to. So I am listening here for the counter. Counter is int. So I am only listening for the latte count. So once that value is received, I'll be using that value to show the latte count here. So that's how latte got increased here. And if you see for these other orders, we have used a BlocBuilder because it will be listened every time. If I make a change here, it will be listened every time. But latte order is not updating because we are not listening every time. We are listening only when there is a change in a latte orders. Now I'll show you this status display one. What would you assume? It would be BlocBuilder or BlocListener or BlocSelector. It would be BlocBuilder because it is listening to the changes every time. I'll order a coffee. If you see, so there is a change in state. It is listening every time to the state. Now I'll go to the block again. Yeah, if you see, we are emitting the orders from here as shown earlier. Let me go to the main class, and we have a letter ready listeners. What it will does basically, so whenever there is a change regarding the latte coffee, the block will be the dialog will be shown to the user. You one interesting thing about BlocListener. So if I go to the latte coffee and I ordered it, order received, it wait for preparation, and they served me the coffee, and the BlocListener came asking for the feedback. So I said it's perfect or good, that's fine. Now next time when I order coffee on the same day, like just after having a coffee I order another coffee, so I'll place an order. So now the order is received and it counter is incremented, but the BlocListener didn't came and didn't ask me for the update, basically feedback. So it's not happening. Why? Because if you go to the order counter detail here, I'm sorry, which was this class? Yeah, order counter, yeah. Sorry, let it listeners. So if you go to the BlocListener here, you have an option to listen when. What it is does, if previous state is later ready and current state is later ready, I don't want to change the status. I don't want to change, update the UI, because it doesn't make any sense. And if I go to the Americano here and I order a coffee, I updated a counter here, waiting, and they served me the Americano coffee. Now I'll go and I'll change to the latte because this time state has been changed. If you go to the code here in the block, I'll show you here. So in the block, every time we are checking if is latte selected, then we are passing the value is true or false. So if I have selected latte only, it will be true every time. So there is no change in the state. If there is change in value like true or false, then only we will be able to see this dialog. We created a BlocProvider which provides a coffee block to the screen. This coffee order screen, and coffee order screen has 5 children or 6 children. They all 6 will have access to the block. If I go here, if you see, a BlocBuilder is a widget which listens to the state changes every time. Every time there's a state change, BlocBuilder will listen and update the state based on that. If I go to the main.dart again, we have another child order buttons. It will use a context and it will request a block by using context.read, and it will add an event, order coffee or order tea, based on the user requirement. Once block receives those requests, it will use an event to identify what event is this, and it will make some processing, and it will emit a state. It will give an output to you, and based on that output, whenever there is a BlocBuilder listening, the change in a state or UI update will happen there. If I go to the order counter here, as we seen, BlocBuilder gets updated every time. Block selector will only be listened when there is a change in the last attribute, that's integer, because I'm listening only to the counter. So if the change in counter, it will always update, otherwise it won't update. BlocListener, it will be listen only when the states are not same. Whatever the previous state and current state, they both are not same. In that case only BlocListener will be able to listen. And I think we are done with this example, and thank you. If you have any concerns or any issues, please drop a message in a comment. I'll reply to you. Thank you so much.